Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and today we are talking about rethinking cities in a post-COVID future. Well, about 5, maybe 10 years ago, we talked a lot about smart cities and the idea of integrating technology into our cities to better our lives as citizens, but also to create more efficient cities and buildings and everything that we do within a city. But now in this post-COVID era that we're heading into, how should we be thinking about cities? How have cities reshaped? And what new services, what new buildings, what new constructions and even technologies need to be implemented as we look to the future of our cities? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here today on VCTV, and we've brought together the best and the brightest from around the world who have been investing in this space and also building in this area to share their thoughts and insights and on-the-ground perspective to tell us what's going to happen in the future of cities and what they're seeing currently right now, so you are aware of the current trends and opportunities in these areas as investors and entrepreneurs. Now, if you would like to be on a show like today as an investor or as an entrepreneur, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find the right spot for you to talk about whether a different technology, industry, or region around the world. And a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria, who make VCTV possible every single day. You can check out the archive on LATOKEN.com to hear from today's speakers and all of the VCTV family of speakers from around the world, and not just again on today's topic, but a number of topics as well. And I want to jump right into today's discussion because we are joined by a very exciting entrepreneur who's going to be sharing their project with us. But before we jump in, I want to introduce our guests who have joined us again from around the world today to share their thoughts and insights around rethinking cities. Let's kick it off first with Peter. Peter, welcome back to the show. A little introduction and a little background.
Hey, Kyle, it's always a pleasure. Thank you and Maria and the whole VCTV team for always inviting me on your show. I'm Peter Plout. I'm the executive director of Weimer Family Office based in London and Denmark. We focus on investments around the world. We're a multi-billion-dollar multi-family office. Real estate is at our core. So when we're talking about rethinking cities in the post-COVID world, whether that happens to be residential, office, shared communities, hospitality, I think we've got a lot to say. So I'm very looking forward to this discussion today.
Wonderful. And thank you very much, Peter. Next up, Irina.
Oh, goodness. It took me a minute to unmute. Well, thank you for having me back. I've missed you guys. I've took like a whole January off. So it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Erin Elliott. Kind of the way we design new cities have been on my mind for the last 2 years, and now it's actually becoming a reality. I'm an innovator and I support innovations. And so you can find all the information about me at Crypto Superwoman.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Next up, Brett. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. Always great to be here. Brett Weiss, founder and director of Ventures, early stage investor syndicate consisting of about 500 VCs and early stage investors that we work with. As it pertains to today's topic, one of the areas that we were focused on is future work. I'm really excited to see about everyone's thoughts on this space.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Brett. And last but not least, Harsh, welcome back to the show as well. A little intro, a little background.
Thanks, Kyle. Glad to be back. A brief bio about me. My name is Harsh Shetty. I worked with the Fortune 50 companies, several unicorns, and currently I'm a venture partner with our ventures. We are a sector agnostic space and we help startup raise funds in all sectors, all the way up to $10 million. I currently work as a growth partner with a lot of startups as well. My core expertise in SaaS, health tech, fintech, marketing tech space. So if anyone wants to reach out, you can feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you all very much. Very excited to have all of you today here with us, again, to talk about rethinking cities. But before we jump right into that, I do want to welcome up our entrepreneurial guest today. Nikita, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. No worries, Nikita. Welcome. So to our audience, the way this will work today here on VCTV, Nikita is actually going to have 5 minutes on the clock to share with us his company and product to each of us as investors. We're going to listen to his pitch, give him some feedback, ask a few questions at the end, and then we'll continue into today's discussion around rethinking cities as well. So Nikita, if you are ready, we're going to turn it over to you. You've got 5 minutes on the clock to pitch us what you're building.
Okay, can you see me?
I think we're getting your screen up
okay,
here. I
think we will continue without my camera because something's happens. I don't know.
No worries. There you go.
Oh,
so you've got.
Now it's fine. I think.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Can I start to share screen?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. And my camera off. Okay, so sorry, but I will probably continue without my camera. But maybe I turn on it again. Oh, no.
There you go. We can see your presentation. Yep.
Okay, let's see.
All right, you got 5 minutes on the clock. Go ahead, Nikita.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Nikita. I'm the co-founder and CTO of the Zuzan project. Zuzan is a personal event planner and designer all in one place. We allow you to choose artists and venues to organize special occasions and events. At Zuzan, we have solved the 3 biggest problems in the event market today: money, time, and execution. Talking about our product, we have a tender platform, Netflix for info products, wishlist, and online and offline events builder. The MICE industry will reach more than $1 billion by 2025, and virtual events industry will reach more than $100 billion by 2027. Our competitors, we have offline competitors like traditional industry event agencies, and online competitors like Zoom or Google Hangouts. So how we beat Zoom with this case of online education? First of all, we have interactive board for collaboration between teachers and students. We have upload lessons materials in convenient format. We have unlimited time Zuzan room. We can create a calendar of lessons and display each one on a separate landing page. We have anti-fraud and automatic notifications. We are digitizing students' emotions in real time. So Zuzan in numbers. We have over 7,000 clients and vendors on our platform, currently with over 8 orders per day. Our monthly revenue on average $5,000. Our early revenue is an average $80,000. On average, $300,000 of yearly subscription for education means. And for corporate university, it's $500,000. We have this is our plans, which include start online streaming sales in USA, hypothesis testing in China, start of sales in Spain, mobile app development, onboarding major corporations, and scaling of services. We have a strong team of professionals with great background in business and marketing, with huge ambitions and major involvement. So that's all. I will happy to answer your questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nikita. Perfect timing. You still had another minute left. So to entrepreneurs tuning in, Nikita is a great example of a pitch. Got through his entire company and pitch and still had a few minutes to spare. So take notes. Thank you, Nikita. Harsh, I want to come to you first. Any comments, feedback, or questions for Nikita and his company?
Yeah, the pitch was a bit short on the product, right? So if I would like to get more clarity on what the product is like, what kind of features it's offering in the product. I think he kind of brushed through that very quickly.
About every our products.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit more detail about the product, Nikita, as to what it is, what it does, and a few of its feature sets.
Okay.
Maybe just go.
First of all, we are event marketplace. So we are like a bridge between customer and vendors to organize any event that you need. So, first of all, we are a marketplace, after marketplace, we start creating online platforms, which includes we also have streaming platform, and we have Suzanne Meet platform. It means, in fact, we could host this conference in our platform because we have Suzanne Meet like Zoom, like StreamYard. So this is our third product, and we are marketplace of events, and we can actually sell tickets to events. So we have a streaming and conferences, and we have some ecosystem for education. It works together, like when you need to organize some event for some education issues, you can use together streaming platform and conference platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you have classrooms, you can control your student works, you can do a lot of things actually. But first of all, we are a marketplace, so something like this.
Okay. Harsh, does that help explain a little bit more for you?
Yeah, this definitely helps us like slightly better than.
We actually have a full pitch about all our service, but right now we're just trying to create some parts of pitch of our services, because it's a lot of services for any reasons. It's really hard right now to say all about our service. So this is really hard.
Kyle,
go ahead, Noble.
Yeah. The only thing that I would do is just show us a use case, or at least a case study example in that presentation.
Exactly.
The presentation was the right length. It wasn't so much, I went, while we're talking, I went and visited the website. And so it's obviously you're an event aggregator, right? And so you have people who post their events, and people, you guys get a percentage of what's paid, and you have other aspects in the back end. But just the use case and to show a case study example would have kind of capped off that whole pitch, and would have got you your 5 minutes solidly. So you would have said XYZ University, and I see you have some like concerts, gets on our platform, person signs up. So just one case study would have added to the robustness, because I was confused by who your client was, and I didn't really understand your problem solution set. What the problem was that you're trying to solve, and then all the solution that you had for it was a little bit confusing. I got that online events are going to be big, but you kind of lost me on why Zuzan was important.
Exactly. So I completely agree with the Noble's point over there, right? So just building on that, if he had kind of elaborated like a problem statement, right? Before problem statement, what it currently looks like, and after once Zuzan comes in, what it looks like, right? He would have had a proper storytelling element to it, and would have given us more idea what the product is exactly about, right? Mm-hmm. So that would have really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. So Brett, hold on, Nikita, real quick. I want to make sure Brett gets a question, because it looks like he's got a thought that might add on to that. So Brett, why don't you go ahead and then.
Yeah, I just want to say I like the one of the things that most stood out to me was your traction, right? So I think that was good that you threw that in there and shows us that people actually want to buy this. I think that a piece that was missing for me is the defensibility and your long-term competitive advantage.
Thank you, Brett. Irina, any comments, questions, or feedback?
Well, I just want to repeat what you guys said. It was really unclear. I'm still not sure exactly what your product is and what you're asking. So I think, describe short what you do, and then ask for what you want is kind of the two key for pitching. That would be, but so in my mind, what it sounds like is that it's a marketplace. So I'm an event organizer, and I go and I download your app to allow. I don't really know, where is it a website? Do I put all my stuff through it? I'm really confused about what's going on.
Got
So,
it.
can
Go
I
ahead.
start say something?
Yes, please go ahead.
Probably my colleague Daria will help me to answer all of these questions, but let's but just go step by step. First of all, we are a marketplace. Let's start talking about what it means. Like event organizer, Irina, if you need to plan your wedding, so what you need to do without any services like Zuzan. So how it works without any service. You need to find some photographers, decorations, hire entertainers, a lot of things, and you will find it. You start to find it in a lot of services like Facebook. You will Google it. You will find it's you spend time researching and booking each one, like I said before in my pitch. So it's disorganized. In Zuzan, we have a huge database of vendors like photographers, restaurants, a lot of things. So, and we have some event types. It means you can create a wedding, kids parties, some corporate parties, a lot of types of events. So this is about our competitors. So, I mean, we have more than 13 types of events in.
Yeah, I got it. And so I also would give an advice. Try to make your answer like short, okay?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Okay.
Short and precise, because what you want for an investor is to hear a next question. So it's more the questions than your answers. Short, So I got. Thank you. That clarified that. And so your marketplace right now, your database, where is it? Is it in US? Is it in Asia? Is it in Russia? Where, what's your marketplace right now?
Okay. Right now, our marketplace is based in Russia, and we will start to enter US market very soon. We also tested our marketplace in India. Okay, let's short answers. So, like organizer, you need to join our platform, choose vendors, photographers, restaurant, choose a date. You need to just book their vendors. You need to fill your budget, your guest limit, and we will show you most relevant vendors for your event. So, and you can order this by just filling out a simple form and click the just single button.
I have one more question real quick, Kyle.
Yeah, go ahead, Noble.
I'm just curious, what is the traffic to the website? You're talking about people subscribing or paying to be, but how much traffic are you? Because so far I see it as a website. So how many people come to the website a month, weekly? What's your analytics on that?
Right now, like I said, we're based in Russia, and we work only with Russian clients right now. Mm-hmm. So like today, we have more than 2,000 clients every month, an average more than from 2,000 to 3,000 clients every month. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like this. But we have two different platforms. We have online and offline events. I mean, after the pandemic comes, of course, our offline event just died for a moment. And our online events right now, it's more than 2,000 clients every month.
And I have one follow-up, and then how do you make money? I'm still trying to understand how there's subscriptions you talked about, but a lot of event platforms that I see like yours, they make a percentage on being a mediator or a connector.
Yeah. So our we make money by commissions. So we attract clients to vendors. It's the first thing. The next thing is we got commissions. We have commissions from every ticket we sell. So right now it's our main monetized thing.
So Nikita, would you say your product is like a combination of Eventbrite, Airmeet, and local vendor marketplace? Do you say that's an apt summarization?
Yes, and not only this app, not only these products, also like it's a combination of Zoom, it's a combination of every service that you know.
So Airmeet is Zoom actually. Airmeet is a video streaming solution,
and more of this
and a ticketing solution as well.
What?
Airmeet is a streaming solution and a ticketing solution, and you can schedule independent rooms over there for individual discussions. I think those are some of the points which you had mentioned in your deck.
Yeah. So Nikita, I would listening to what you're saying, I'd have to make a hard pass on your business. I don't see anything unique about it. I see that you're a generalist, like a Swiss Army knife, and I don't see anything special about what you're presenting, unless I'm missing something.
Actually, it's true that our marketplace system is not unique because it works everywhere, and our competitors do the same things. But all of them is like narrowly segmented. I mean, they just do think with less than 3 types of events in one platform. This is first our advantage.
Nikita, the money's made by specialists, not generalists.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they pick those lanes that are successful, and then
I know, but it works. It works in our cases. I mean,
Nikita, just when you say it's working in your cases, what I was trying to understand, listening to everybody, is your conversion ratio. How do you conversion those 3,000 into actually real cash flow, and so that I could value that cash flow? That's going to be key to me as an investor. So I didn't get a sense of I understand the opportunity, but as Noble mentioned, it's not unique in any form. So there really is the conversion ratio to me of the 3,000 users plus every week or month into actually hard cash. And I didn't see in the presentation what that conversion ratio is. And that's going to be key to any investor.
Yeah, sorry, but this is actually not for the presentation. But
it's okay, Nikita.
It's got to be in the presentation.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
simple as that.
Yeah, but right now we're just trying to, let's trying to say more about all of our products, not about only of a marketplace. So
an investor's going to give you 30 seconds. It's kind of like the Shark Tank. Basically, what's the opportunity? What's your ask? End of story.
Yeah, I know.
You know what it is. Boom. All the rest all the rest I'll give my analyst to give me a due diligence summary on the financial.
So Nikita, guys, I want to pause here for just a moment. Nikita, big thank you to share your company with us and also be so open with all the answers as well. This takes a lot to get up here and pitch, 5 really good investors who have a lot of experience and want to give you good feedback. So what I highly recommend you take away from this is not only just the badge of honor of getting up on a virtual stage, nonetheless, and sharing so much of your company with the world, and again, getting this feedback, but take the feedback away. Look at your pitch as you did it, as we do have these recorded. So go back, listen to your pitch, take a lot of this feedback, and interject what's necessary and what may not be necessary, right? Sift through all of the feedback that was given today and figure out what's relevant for the customers or the other investors that you're pitching and what may not be, and adjust your pitch from there and try again and try again and try again. The thing is, when pitching any investor, I'll leave you with this feedback, pitching any set of investors with any company, any product is always an evolving process. It's good to get feedback, good, bad, or ugly, make adjustments and continue to push on. So you've got an exciting business here that you're evolving into a much more thriving business. We can't wait to see it again and hear how things continue to develop as well. But we'll connect you with all investors offline so you can continue to go one-on-one with them. as well as myself if you've got any further questions. But I do want to take the next step into the conversation. Before we do, where can everyone find you and the company online? So your name, again, just what best social network you can be found on, and then what's the URL of the company so those that are listening can jump onto.
Okay. So can you repeat the last?
Yeah, Nikita, where can everyone find the company online? What's the website of the company so they can go visit it?
Can I share it in the private chat, right?
Sure, you can say yes. Go ahead, and I'll vocalize it for everybody as well. And
or I can share it with you after the stream.
Sure. Just drop it in the chat, and I'll share it with everybody in the audience, and we'll share it in the show notes as well. So again, big thank you, Nikita. And everyone that was listening, check out Nikita and his company at zuzan.com to learn more about Nikita, his team, and also the company as well. Again, thank you, Nikita, for the time today. Switching gears over to today's topic, so rethinking cities in a post-COVID era. Investors, friends, family, we know that this is going to be a thing. We already have seen changes in the commercial real estate layouts as they were to where they are today. We already know that cities are rethinking how flow will be going forward. We've seen many streets closed to open up for new walkways or biking paths. We have now outdoor dining instead of indoor dining in most places. But all that aside, let's step into the future in a year from now. What do cities look like? How do they feel for us as citizens within? And then as technology starts to play a more significant role. And Peter, I want to kick it off with you. I know you do a lot in this space, both as the family office, investing in real estate, looking at real estate, thinking on how cities are laid out. And you also have a number of initiatives on a global scale that you work with as well around this. So why don't you kick us off as to what it means and what it talks about around rethinking cities?
Right. So thanks, Kyle. So, as I started out, I'm the executive director of the Weimer Family Office. So we're a multi-billion-dollar multifamily office where real estate is core to us. And those real estate investments are asset class agnostic. We look across the world, whether that's data and logistics, whether that's office, whether that's residential. That could be warehouses, it could be hospitality, and all the above. I think what's also important is I'm the vice chairman of the hospitality committee at GRI, which is a club of C-suite level executives, as well as future finance and investment as it applies to real estate. So I basically have access to pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, asset managers, and others all around the globe to basically hear what they're thinking. And we have weekly chats about that. So I would say the cities of the future, it's very important to look at different asset classes. One, offices. People will go back to offices. We're humans. We like to socially interact. So once everybody has the vaccine, or majority of us do, we will go back to offices. However, offices of the future are going to be very different than they are now. When it comes to, I'm not talking just about the workspace and the configuration, but technology. If we look at carbon neutrality, that is a mandated EU directive by 2030 for some countries and 2050 by others. So that's a very, very important thing to look at when we're looking at technology. We're looking at green buildings, alternative energy supporting buildings. Green is very important, and it's going to become more important for big companies as they look to lease spaces from buildings. They want to make sure they're ESG compliant, they're green compliant, and obviously carbon neutral. So you're going to see buildings in the future. Green buildings are going to have a premium versus other buildings, and the older buildings that don't have that will have to be upgraded. If we're looking at the hospitality space, in particular hotels, no longer will you likely check in and see a very attractive young man or woman at the counter. You will usually check in now with your app. You'll order food by your app. The rooms will be smart rooms. If your Lexus car or BMW or Mercedes has more data on you than your actual home or the hotel you're staying at, that's a problem. And we're going to see a huge innovation trend from technology companies around the world, focusing on technology to monitoring humans, whether that's their health, their well-being, etc., in the room. If somebody's temperature rises above a certain level, do they call an ambulance? They call a doctor. Somebody just calls you on the phone to see how you're doing. So smart rooms, smart hotels, smart offices are the wave of the future. And there's government directives in that sense. So where are we placing our money over the last, since March, I've probably signed engagements and term sheets over $5.5 billion. And we're looking for the highest end of the hospitality space that focuses on health and wellness. We're looking at office buildings that are ESG compliant. We're looking at residential situations that focus on multifamily residential, shared workspaces. That's important as well. This chat is too short for me to go on. We could have a whole sector dedicated to it. Hopefully that gives you a good macro overview of how we're looking at stuff from a family office perspective and how asset managers, whether that's private equity or others, are looking at cities and the new workplace, the new residential place as we look to the post-pandemic world.
Thank you, Peter. It's a great foundation, again, for today's discussion, as you mentioned. Noble, I want to come to you next on this Rethinking Cities. As Peter stated, is there anything to add on to his statement and also your view of what cities will look like in this post-COVID era, or really just a year from now as well?
Yeah, I mean, if you start going too far out, I'm thinking flying cars and distance. But the post, and especially this upcoming year, people have learned that they don't really need to be in high expensive areas. And so we've seen a huge emigration from Los Angeles, San Francisco to more rural areas where people can have a quality of life. Arizona has been booming because people just realize they can remotely work from their same offices. So I think in leading into 2021, 2022 over the next year, you'll see more migration away from expensive cities. And people are starting to realize that it's not as important to have the right zip code, and that the job itself needs to be more flexible around your life. And I also think that education is slowly going to evolve. We have a couple clients that we're working with now that are creating really amazing educational tools that allow kids to use VR and AR to interact with their lessons. Teachers are starting to realize that they can develop lesson plans and kids can operate with them. So the world over the next year or so is really going more and more digital. To Nikita's point, they have a good premise. Their thesis is right, that people want one kind of platform that is easy to use and to interact with. At the same time, people also need each other. So I do believe events are going to come back. They're just going to be done more smartly, and they'll be tighter in the number of people who attend and where they go. We have a huge interest in the entertainment sector. And one of the things that we're noticing is that a lot of the TikTok stars and celebrities that we're interacting with want to host events, but they want to host them as a combination of both virtual, online, and then small, intimate events where they have maybe 100 to 500 of their fans only, where they don't go to fill an arena, but they really get millions of people around the globe who love them to see them in these virtual presentations. And so there's going to be a deep intersection of what events look like and how people operate and how they interact. And it's going to be always a blended reality of both online and in person where people want to interact. I think it's going to be a permanent part of our solution set. And that goes to traveling. I used to travel, maybe 6-7 months out of the year to do business, and then I'd stay longer for vacation. And so we're seeing that same trend happening too, business-wise. Look at all of us from around the globe interacting right now, literally using UTC time, universal time, right, to interact. This is just going to be the normative where people don't need to fly as much, but vacationing is going to be a lot more truly that. People are going to travel to just get away and see the world. So I think the next year is going to be interesting. It's going to blossom in a big way, but this issue of illness and potential sickness is not going to go away. I think we've all been permanently chastised that we have to be more cautious about how we interact and how diseases spread. And so it's going to be interesting moving forward.
Right. Thank you, Noble. Brett, I see you ready to jump in. I want to come to you right next on this.
Sure. So let me just talk about it kind of through the lens of my own personal experience. So I lived in the Bay Area for 7 years, put on millions of events and very much so that event space. And then it came to a screeching halt. Right prior to that, my wife and I were thinking about, more work-life balance. We up and moved in the middle of the pandemic to Denver. We live a little bit, kind of suburbs of Denver. She works for DocuSign. She's able to do everything. Like, we have no intention of ever really going back into office. And we're actually having a house built about 40 minutes outside of Denver. And we're, like equipping the house so that she can have, a best in class setup for being on Zoom meetings for the foreseeable future. So I think, there's going to be a large swath of people that are at that point in their career where they don't have to be in the office, where they once a quarter, once a month, whatever's needed, that you can fly back to a major hub. But we don't necessarily have to be based in a major city. And I think that's changed fundamentally. And I think, we will go back into offices, but we won't, like many of the other speakers have said, in the way that we did before. Events will change. And I'll throw one other kind of a little off the wall thing. A colleague of mine has actually bought an island off somewhere in Michigan, and he's looking to build a community. So he's thinking many, many steps away. Like, he's thought about other projects where building just communities kind of in like Central California, where you could live and work and do all of that stuff, and then you're part of his community. And it's kind of like his former work was actually being the head of construction for Burning Man. So he's really all about this concept of building these really out there communities where creatives can get together, they can work, and they don't necessarily have to be tied to a metropolitan city. So I think that there's outlier ideas, and then there's more practical things that we're going to see here the next 6 months to 5 years.
Yeah. So with that being said, it's perfect layup over to Arena. I mean, Arena, you've done a number of initiatives around exactly what Brett just ended with, but in general, after you comment on that, your view of how cities will be reshaped in the next year.
Okay. Well, first I want to say that what's beautiful is that we don't have to.
Oh, Arena, we lost you for just a moment. The mute button there. Technical difficulties, everybody. And there we go. Welcome back.
Yeah, I wanted to say that though it's awesome that we don't have to travel anymore, and we realize that there's a baseline for people to be able to just pull back and be productive from home. It's also very, very much worth to notice that a lot of people want to. And so I think we're going to have roaring 20s. So as soon as there's a critical mass passes, it's going to turn it up, right? So all the parties, all the gatherings, and it's happening right now, actually. Big kind of a migration from all over the places. There are big gatherings and parties but it's all private clubs, private everything. The world is exciting right now. So anyway, on the other note, what I'm seeing is that exactly what Brett said and Peter said and everything in between, right? One of there are also cities that are being built right now that can maybe micro cities that are interconnected with each other. And the key that I'm seeing, and that's a global development, and it's been happening for a number of years. There are a lot of people that's been kind of putting together these communities together and connecting them, right? But now it's actually happening. And basically it's for the nomads. We have a huge global group of people that do not belong to a place, and they do not want to belong to a place. And what happened during pandemic too is that we, as much as we realized that we don't have to be in a high scrapers and attached to a specific zip codes for now, and we can move on and kind of be very productive in our environment. A lot of people realize that being nomad, owning nothing, and being able to move from spot to spot and be productive is kind of what they're dedicated to. And so That's very popular right now. A lot of groups of people keep on moving from communities to communities, and the way the cities work is that there are memberships. So it's all the regular traditional kind of structures, but it applies to these people that do not want to own any land, and also conscious communities. So what is your do you have a regenerative farming, right? If it's vegan, is the food coming from the city? So we're starting to see these micro cities that actually have an area dedicated to producing their own food, and they are designed as a city, as a governance. New governances are coming up on board, and it's looking very interesting. As I said, there are a number of different networks that work within each other, and so now you can kind of travel from from Korea to California. No, you wouldn't go to California, let's face it. But, to Denver, to Texas, obviously, there's some things happening in Texas, but also Puerto Rico, also Panama, also in Mexico. There's a lot of places that's happening and people are seeking. And also, I think what's becoming interesting is that now that becomes not a luxury lifestyle, but really catered toward millennials. Mm-hmm. So affordability of the membership and ability to have access to places to gather and places to live and be able to, have your food supply and water supplies. These are the very key kind of drives that attract a lot of millennial attention right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Harsh, I want to come to you next on this. I mean, global perspective, but also locally, what you're seeing happening in India right now. I mean, how are cities being rethought or just laid out, again, with technology being applied on top from your perspective?
Correct. So there have been a couple of interesting movements which I've seen over here, right? Particularly IT companies in India, they are kind of giving up their office spaces altogether and they're encouraging work from home, right? So what is happening is people, the employees, they are freely moving towards hill stations and enjoying their life over there and at the same time working and delivering on the results. In fact, funny fact, there were two people over in India, they cycled all the way to 2,000 kilometers at the same time doing their job as well. So this is the kind of comfort which the work from home has kind of provided people, right? You can enjoy your hobby at the same time, follow the work, practice your work. What major thing this does is it helps us rethink the entire town planning system, right? And that is what I kind of wanted to come to, right? Right now, cities originally used to were a symbol of opportunity, right? You move to these high volume cities, you get more job opportunities, you get lots of avenues, right? And that is exactly kind of what hurt us the most during this pandemic. And it was these cities which suffered the major brunt of the pandemic, right? So it kind of helps us, kind of forces us to rethink how we've structured the cities. And instead of having like 20, 30 major cities where, most of the population is congregated, we instead can have like 60, 70 or maybe 100 kind of tier 2 cities and divide the population among them and, reduce the load in a way. So there would be multiple benefits of that, right? The first benefit being if you're in a big city, like say a New York or a Chicago or a Detroit or a California or San Francisco, right? The kind of the load on the economic systems, the civil services, etc., is so high, and the time to travel is so high. The amount of greenhouse gases in the cars that you spend is so high. It takes just about an hour just to reach the office, right? In Mumbai, where I stay, people are traveling for an hour and a half just to reach the place of their work. 1.5 hour one way, 1.5 hour back, right? So it becomes ridiculously difficult to sustain that. So I think this should give an opportunity to rethink the town planning. Instead of having these huge cities where all the opportunities are congregated, we divide it into multiple mini cities, have the opportunities divided across them, and that way it'll help us in environmental sustainability, it'll help us in save time, it'll help us be more productive, spend more time with the families, and most and foremost factor which I see over here is a lot of people who are still in these tier 2, tier 3 towns, right? They still do not wish to kind of leave their hometowns and come to these big cities, right? So that talent pool is right now currently getting wasted. Once we expand into these tier 3, tier 4 kind of towns and provide more opportunities over there, investors like us, incubators like us, we set up more opportunities over there, stimulate a local startup ecosystem over there, we'll be able to get those people into a talent pool, right? And the current startup ecosystem, if we think it's big right now, it could become far bigger 5 years down the line if we get those people on board as well.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up a great point, and also just the digital economy that we're moving into more than ever, and really more rapid than ever, is starting to open up that talent pool in ways that we all had dreamt once before, and now we're starting to see true. Where, as you have an internet connection, you're now more available. And on the flip side, companies themselves are looking for the best talent everywhere, not necessarily within the geographic region of their office. I think is to the point, right? There's opportunities in both local and global, as well as we're starting to see a shift towards. And also, I think coming full circle to everyone's comment, there is a big push towards flexibility. So when to be or when not to be into the office, where to have an office, where not to have, either living online or physically, but there could be or should be a blend in the near future. But as we come to closing thoughts, I want to get just a quick thought from each of you, and that's what is going to be the biggest technology from your standpoint that will really redefine cities in the coming 5 years. Throw it out there for Noble to really get them thinking. In the coming 5 years, as your closing thought, what's the one big technology that you think is going to have the biggest impact? And then where can everyone find you online? Brett, let's start with you. We'll let Noble think on this one for a minute.
Well, I'm going to be a little contrarian to your thought here. I'm going to say for any entrepreneurs or people that are out there thinking about this, start with the community side and then build the technology. I feel like the technologies to a great extent already exist. It's sort of like video conferencing and different infrastructure. I don't know that we're going to, maybe I'll leave the rest of the panel to say the really genius tech ideas, but I'd say start thinking about this from the community side and build the tech around that instead of the other way around. And Brett Noyce, I could be found at brnoyce at unventures.co. I'm also on Twitter and LinkedIn at Brett Noyce. And as always, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Brett. Harsh, to you, back to you. Big technology that's going to redefine cities in the next 5 years, and where can everyone find you online?
Absolutely. So big technology, AI. I see AI as the biggest change maker for the foreseeable next decade. The amount of data that we have, if we can put it to good use, the applications in the health tech and the fintech space could completely redefine the way that we live our lives, right? And the change that we've seen in the past 10 years, it's going to happen on every annual basis or maybe 2-year basis at best. So that is how I see it happening. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm available everywhere. My name is Harsh Shetty, and any startup wants to wants any help, I'll be glad to help out. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh. Arena.
I'm getting used to this whole new software. You guys switched on me so fast. All of a sudden, I have to find a different button. I think that distributed ledger technology going to make the biggest impact because it will allow, I believe, because it will allow us to apply unique governance models and also reward systems as well. And so, in an application layer of the kind of a direct benefits, I think the distributed ledger technology, not necessarily blockchain, will kind of allow us to see biggest impact. And find me as a crypto superwoman.
Wonderful. Thank you, Arena. Peter.
So Kyle, again, this could be a multi-hour discussion about the COVID world of emerging cities and what it looks like. The major drivers for growth in the post-pandemic cities is going to be in the life sciences industry. You've got rapid technological advances, surging demand from an aging population. They're creating all kinds of positive environments for life science growth. You'll see over the next decade, demand for lab space is going to rise. There's going to be more employment in there. Data centers are going to become more important. The millennials and the other generations that come are going to be more demanding of combining work and living together in combination. So kind of the WeWork / owning of homes, renting of homes together. So the convergence of there and the technology monitoring situations, whether that's ESG compliant office buildings or ESG compliant residential buildings, will be the wave of the future, and the technology benefiting, and that's the forefront there, will be the winners.
Wonderful. Thank you, Peter. And last but not least, Noble, I've given you enough time to think about this, so drop it on us.
Yeah, you did. And, Irina, who I can't see anymore, she really hit the nail on the head, I think, with the DLT and how it functions in our day-to-day life. And I think there's going to be an intersection where the distributed ledger technology, blockchain, and AI start to basically kind of self-manage and self-run our world. You know, Peter mentioned something earlier when he said it's ridiculous that our phones and watches know more about us than the places and locations that we go to. And I think DLT and blockchain is going to start changing that. We're going to have a full-blown, true digital identity that functions and is kind of our advanced guard for places and things that we do. And so our digital presence will be solidified, and that will represent who we are, from what we buy to how we interact with our world. 99, we talked about it, Kyle. 99% of our life is really digital, you know, from our bank accounts to our interactions here. And that has to be aggregated. Right now, it's a hodgepodge mess of things coupled together. And AI and smart contracts make that a lot more simple in how we function. And so those things are going to start becoming the true interactivity that we have. Easy to reach me, LinkedIn, Noble Dracone. You can find me on Twitter at Dracone. You can find me on VCTV at least 4 or 5 times a month. So
Thank you. Thank you, Noble, Brett, Peter, Harsh, and Arena as well for sharing your thoughts and insights on today's topic, again, around rethinking cities in a post-COVID era as well. And to your audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, click subscribe, share, check out the archive as well on LATOKEN.com, as you can hear more from our speakers today and all of the speakers who are a part of the VCTV family from around the world, as we bring the best and the brightest to share their thoughts and insights and on-the-ground perspective around different technologies, industries, and regions around the world. And if you'd like to be on a show like today's as an investor or as an entrepreneur, as we had Nikita pitching investors today, do reach out to the team and or myself, and we'll find that right spot for you. Speaking of the team, a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making VCTV possible every single day and bringing us all together here to share these thoughts, insights, and trends with you. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. You can find me everywhere online at Kyle Ellicott and on all social medias, just like each of our guests mentioned today as well. Please do reach out to continue the conversation. When you do, make sure you add context, where you saw us, where you heard us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about. With that, we'll be back here with more VCTV after a short little break. Thanks, everybody.